So another thing I'd like to talk about is it is actually spurred from a conversation that I started to have, where it was a picture of the it was a screenshot of the burning of Teldrassil cinematic in BFA. It's Sylvanas standing on the shore, looking over across the water at the world tree that's on fire. Sylvanas is labeled as Activision. The tree is labeled as Blizzard. Kind of the joke there being that Activision set Blizzard on fire and burning it to the ground and destroying it, right? That's, ha ha ha. Well, the conversation I had is something that I've pointed out before, which is I don't think Activision ever saw WoW as being salvageable. This is why we started to see the class prune after World of Warcraft. They kind of saw that the game had hit its peak, and now it's just kind of riding the decline. Not going to get any better. MMOs aren't the thing anymore. These new FPS games are kind of taking over. All the kids really like Halo and all that, and So it's I know my eras are a little bit off, but anyway, I think people at Activision were thinking, this is we've hit the peak, and that now it's this is as good as it's going to get. So we're just going to let's keep this thing afloat as much as possible, but we're going to trim the resources back just to keep so it stays profitable as it is. And so I don't think Activision ever intended to. Their goal has never been to increase WoW subs. I think their goal is to sell units. Again, a fact that I've mentioned before. Because one unit sale comes with kind of a guaranteed amount of sub sales. So a person buys, the game for $60, buys, 4 months worth of subs. That's $100. So one new unit sold, it's $100. It's not 60, it's 100. That's important. Minimum, too. I think that's the other important thing. Because you also get the people that forget about their subs. You get people that are like, oh, that mount is shiny. Here, I have $30. Free leveling. You level me up to max, almost max level. Ooh, here, have $60. So there's other things to be sold in there. So pushing units is really their main goal, rather than retaining sub count. And so the point that I kind of came across after seeing this and talking to somebody about it was, I would be surprised if there actually is another expansion. And people would go, well, that's silly. And I'm like, you think? They already wrapped up Legion. They wrapped up the Burning the Burning Legion storyline. The only thing left is the kind of old god Void Lord storyline. And a lot of people are joking that what we're going to see is Sylvanas' dumb bullshit is because she's influenced by the old gods and the Void Lords, and that's going to be the storyline. And then that's a very easy way to lead into whatever final raid closes off, destroys the Void Lords, destroys the old gods, whatever. And now all of a sudden there are no more big baddies left in World of Warcraft. And then they can call the game done. That's not a stretch. And my biggest supporting evidence for this is Classic WoW. Classic WoW was supposed to release this year. That's a death throw. Because now what they've realized is, why do we need to pay? Why pay an art team and a music team and game balancers and developers and all this shit to come up with new content when we can pay a small team of programmers to ostensibly bug fix our old content? That's it. There's always been this line that WoW, Blizzard never had a functional copy of the classic game because they kind of coded over top of it. Bullshit. Anybody who believes that's fucking stupid, go buy a copy of classic WoW. Tell me they can't get in there and they can't take the actual game disc, install it, download everything, and then crack open the Lua files and actually realize what's what. Bullshit. They have access to the game. That's just been, that was kind of a collar ruffle, I don't want to talk about it kind of thing. They didn't want to bring it up because there was a time where they didn't want to talk about Classic WoW, because Classic WoW was something you do at the end of the game's life. That's when you're saying, well, the new content, we've done it. We can't create any more good new content, so now we're just going to rehash the old stuff. And that's where we're at. Battle for Azeroth sucks. You guys did a terrible job. Everyone's unhappy. All right, fine. We'll just release Classic WoW, make you nerds happy. Keep this. That'll keep it going. And the thing about Classic WoW is there's no expectation for more. And that's the biggest thing, is that right now with the current game, they've got to keep releasing patches. They've got to keep adding shit because that's what's expected. When they don't do that, you get the WoD. You get these situations like you get in WoD where subs dipped, the game almost died because people were like, well, there's nothing to fucking do. With Classic, that's not the case, because people are like, this is what I wanted to do. It's, I wanted this to just be this. Great. And that's it. So they basically they don't have to make content anymore. And that's why they said, you know what, fine, fuck it, Classic WoW, Battle for Azeroth, failure. That was our best foot forward. We're kind of done. We're not going to try anymore. You guys just want to play the same old thing over and over again, fine. So this is my prediction: is Classic WoW comes out, it's going to be good. Hopefully they don't do the dumb changes that they want to with, like, I think they wanted to do sharding and cross-realm zoning, and they were talking about doing away with Master Looter and doing personal loot, all things that would be very detrimental to the Classic experience, and hopefully they don't do. Like, they keep talking about that. I'm like, I'd rather them put in the aesthetic changes that they have now rather than that. But that might not even be possible because they're two separate builds, right? So fine, run Classic as Classic. It's going to be old and ugly, and it's going to be great and nostalgic. That's what people want. So Classic WoW will come out. It'll be great. All the people that never got to experience it, like myself, who started to Burning Crusade, I'll play it. The level experience is going to be long and tedious. Great, that's what I want. It's going to keep me occupied forever. I'm 30 years old now. I don't have the time to go, sit there and plow through it and play the game 6 hours a day. If it takes, a whole 2 days of slash play to get to level 60, great, because that'll take me months, and I'll enjoy all of it. It'll be, very good. Well, raiding was terrible. That's fine. I don't raid now. Dungeons was fun. I remember dungeons fondly going back in that day. Black Rock Depths, back in the day, best experience I ever had. Quite literally, my most fun I ever had playing WoW was an at-level, complete run of Black Rock Depths. It took us 6 hours, and it was, my fondest memory of the game. And it's fine, because dungeons are more my style. It's smaller content, easier to get people together. Good. Again, I'm 30 years old. I don't have time to sit around trying to herd 40 cats into a raid. So I think Classic will do very, very well. It'll give people exactly what they want. And then, so Blizzard has a choice. Well, do we learn from this experience and try to make more new content that plays like Classic? Or do we just keep doing this? And again, it becomes a financial equation, because how many people creating art assets does it require to create a new expansion? How many people doing voice lines, doing script writing, doing story writing, doing music, doing level design, environmental design, stat balance and design, coming up with new mechanics to keep the game fresh and interesting. Like, there's all these people involved versus the very small team I'm sure it takes to kind of unfuck, the old game builds to the point where they're, functional on the new client. So what I think you're going to see is, I think Classic WoW is going to come out. It's going to do great. They're going to wrap up Battle for Azeroth. They're not going to release another expansion. They're going to put a nice little bow on it that'll be rushed as it usually is. And saying everybody lived happily ever after. I think so. Just a quick: Sylvanas, possessed by a Void Lord, Old God, some bullshit, gets killed. Through that, we end up banishing the Old Gods and Void Lords from our realm. Azeroth is finally safe. Thrall is reinstated as the War Chief. Thrall and Anduin put the problems behind them, and Azeroth lives in peace. That, I think, is the storyline. That's how Battle for Azeroth ends. I'm saying it now on record. Boom. After that, Classic is going to be doing great, and then they're going to have a choice. Either release new servers for each iteration of the game, so there'll be a Burning Crusade server, a Wrath of the Lich King server. That's about it, because if he wants to play a mob server or a WoD server. Or they'll do kind of rolling progression Classic servers. So it'll start with Classic, and then after a year it'll roll to Burning Crusade, then after a year it'll roll to Wrath of the Lich King, etc. And if they're smart, they'll do both. We'll do fixed era legacy servers where you can play the iteration of the game that you want. And then they'll also have a rolling progressive server, so you can play Classic for a year and then it'll roll to Burning Crusade, etc., and then restart. Because and that's, I think, a more important game model, because ostensibly what that does is they can say, if you start playing this Classic server now, in 10 years you can experience the whole game. And what that does is ostensibly gives you content for free forever. At least for another decade, which is an absurdly long period of time. Especially considering that it sounds like if they were to do this, it would require very little maintenance and very little activity on their part. They can almost automate the program, and then you would just have to have a couple GMs online at any given time to deal with, I got stuck. And that's it. And people will sub and pay money, $15 a month for that. You could sell it on the side. That's what I think. That's going to be the big kicker right there. Is that it's, you know, you have your $15 a month regular sub fee, and then there's a separate sub fee for legacy servers. And I could definitely see them doing that because a lot of people will go fuck their main game and sub to the legacy server, but a lot of people are going to have both, and now they've doubled their sub numbers. So now somebody's paying $30 a month for World of Warcraft, now $15. And I think that's really where, I think that's what we're going to see, because it makes financial sense. It's literally, all right, this is what these nerds want. Give them what they want. They want to, you know, they want to play the old version of the game. Fine, let them. We're going to charge you more money to do it too, and you're going to love it, and they will. And it's almost not sad. That's the sad part, is that it's almost not sad. It's almost like, you know, finally, just, you know, let World of Warcraft die in peace at this point. Like, you keep trying to punch these uninspired, shitty expansions out for people that don't actually give a shit about the game, and it just keeps making the game worse. So, fuck it, why bother? Just give us Classic WoW and be done with it. Turn your attention to other things. You already lost Destiny. Just let World of Warcraft, you know, lock it in a time capsule and let it be. Focus your efforts towards something else. Focus it on making Overwatch, you know, less annoying, and making something else. Make the next big MMO. Which is inherently going to suck, because again, it's going to be designed for non-gamers. How about you go make Diablo 4 the right way? Take a page out of Path of Exile's book and learn what people want in this kind of action RPG games. But just let WoW have its dignity. Let it die a peaceful death, and then let it live on in Classic. That's what people want, and it makes you the most money for the least amount of effort. And I think that is what's going to happen.